So what the heck is celery salt? It's something I've been wondering for a few years now. I first heard about celery salt a while ago, and it was one of those things that I just never came across in my daily life. I always kind of assumed it was just like dried celery mixed with salt, but it turns out it's mostly made from celery seeds mixed with salt. You see, I didn't know this when I started this project 4 months ago. I simply wanted to make my own version of celery salt, but elevated through the use of fermentation, despite never having tried celery salt and having nothing to compare mine to. And the idea was simple. Mix salt and celery, ferment it, then dry it out until the salt crystallized. And hopefully the flavor of the fermented celery would be captured in those salt crystals to create a next level celery salt. Now I could talk about celery and the nutritional value of celery and how celery is used, but to be honest, that's not how I go into these fermentation projects. I simply just want to try seeing if fermenting celery and then turning it into salt would make something delicious. And I spent little to no time myself wondering about the potential nutritional value of this project. And with that said, let's get into it. So I'm going to take us back about 5 months ago to the beginning of 2026. I saw some of this celery for sale in the supermarket here in this small city I live in South Korea, which is kind of rare because celery isn't one of those vegetables that is imported. So unless someone is growing it, you really can't get any celery that easily. So I decided to buy some while I had the chance. And so I ended up with these 3 fairly thin bundles of celery. Now, like I said, the plan was fairly simple. Cut the base of the celery off to release all the individual stems of the celery. Wash the stems to remove any dirt that may have gotten lodged in the base of the celery. Then cut the whole stalk, including the top leaves, up and then blend it all up into a paste. Now, celery is something like 95% water, so there was definitely no need to add more of that to this ferment. Instead, all I did was weigh all my blended up celery and calculate 5% of the weight of the celery to add in salt. And to do that, I multiplied the weight of the celery in grams by 0.05, which will give me the exact amount of salt, again in grams, that I need to add to this blended celery. Now, the type of fermentation I'm trying to achieve here is called lacto-fermentation. And by adding the salt to the celery paste, we create a brine which the bad bacteria has a hard time growing in, while the good bacteria that we do actually want can thrive in. As a result, we should get a bit of lactic acid fermentation, which should add a little bit more flavor to our celery. So after ending up with a little over 1.5 kilos of celery paste, I added that 5% salt, which is on the upper end of the brine scale for lacto-fermentation. After all, the idea is to extract as much salt as possible at the end, so I want to add as much salt as I can while allowing fermentation to happen. I mixed in the salt and I even decided to take a stick blender to it one last time to just hopefully break down the celery as much as possible. After that, I transferred everything to a flip top jar and then covered the top with a layer of baking paper to reduce as much air contact as possible. And I just set this fermenting, thinking not much of it. Well, a few weeks later, this is what happened to my celery. It did ferment, as I could see air pockets appearing in the celery, but in the little air pockets under the baking paper, what looks like mold was starting to appear. However, I assure you, this isn't actually mold, and I know this because it's not fuzzy at all, and it was actually more like a crusty layer. This isn't a total loss, but to be honest, I was hoping for a little bit of a cleaner ferment. So in the meantime, I scraped off all of what I suspect is calm yeast and then sprinkled some fresh salt over top and set the jar aside again in the hopes that the calm yeast doesn't come back. But I didn't want to put all my hopes into that 1 jar of fermenting celery that has already fallen to calm yeast. So I went online and I ordered some more celery since my local supermarket didn't have any this time around. And the celery I ordered online was actually considerably better than the stuff from the supermarket. But I did the same, cut off the bombs, washed and then cut up the celery into chunks so that I could throw them into my blender and then blend them up into a paste. I then went a step further and blended the paste even more with a stick blender, and then weighed out the blended celery so that I could calculate the 5% salt that I'll need to allow this to safely ferment. I added the salt and then gave it one more blending with a stick blender to dissolve all of that salt, and then poured it all into a vacuum seal bag. Because this time I'm gonna minimize the possibility of any calm yeast appearing by sucking out as much air as possible using my vacuum sealer. So I raised my vacuum sealer up a little bit so that the contents of the bag wouldn't pour out while I'm trying to vacuum seal this up. And then very carefully vacuumed the air out, waiting to hit the seal button just before any of that celery juice could make its way out of the bag. Now, this hasn't removed 100% of the air in the bag since there are quite a few little air bubbles in the celery, but it's removed most of the air in the bag, leaving little to no open air contact on the celery. And then with the bag properly sealed so no gas or juice can escape, I labeled the bag and I set it aside to ferment. But what I really mean is I forgot about this for around 4 months and even considered scrapping this as I didn't think it would be that interesting. But alas, the constant struggle for more content meant I pushed to finish the celery salt. Today's video is sponsored by me. And by that, I mean my Patreon and my YouTube memberships. So if you enjoy my content and you want to support the channel and see videos early and or ad-free, along with some additional content here and there, consider joining my Patreon at the link in the description of this video or become a member right here on YouTube. Or if you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon below to catch whenever I post a new video. Okay, thank you for your time, and now back to the video. So it's a few months later and the celery has definitely fermented, which you can tell from the bag having inflated a little bit, and the color has dulled out quite a little too. But now it's time to cut this bag open, take its contents out, and then extract the juice from the solids so that we can extract the salt. Now to extract the liquid fermented celery brine from the solids, I'm gonna be using my little screw press. I poured the celery into the screw press container, which is lined with a cheesecloth, and I managed to spill a little as well because I didn't expect the brine to actually flow so easily. But I managed to save it, and I ended up pouring out the brine that had filtered out through its own weight. I folded the cheesecloth back over the top of the celery and then placed it in the screw press, and I started screwing away. Now a lot more liquid ended up flowing out than I expected, but this is good since it should make it easier to get some salt out of this. All in all, I think I extracted about 1.2 liters of celery brine, and all those celery solids are now compressed into this block, which I can easily either compost or throw away. So at this point, I could let this evaporate in the sun until the salt crystals start to form, but in Korea at this time of year I'm making this, the air is filled with pollen from the pine trees and it gets literally everywhere. And since I don't really want to make a pine pollen celery salt, I'm going to throw the brine into a pot and boil it down to speed things up. Once I boiled the brine down to maybe about 10 to 20% of its original volume, I'm going to transfer the brine to a bowl lined with baking paper, and then set this out in my studio with just a fan blowing a light breeze over top to hopefully get some salt crystals forming. Which did probably take an extra day or two, but in the end I managed to harvest about a good tablespoon or two of light, almost flaky salt from the brine. I actually set the brine back out again to try extract more salt out of it, but the crystals were nowhere near as nice as the ones that came out before. So I transferred the salt to a glass bowl and then let the crystals dry off for another day. But to taste this salt, there was only really one way that I wanted to do it, and that was with a nice steak. So I went online and I ordered a Korean Hanu beef steak. This is a cut of Hanu sirloin. This is a decent grade of Hanu, but by far not the highest. I wasn't gonna risk highest grade Hanu on a salt that could actually end up being not good. So I removed the steak and then let it warm up to room temperature, and then I cooked it to my liking, which I'm gonna censor because I know there will be people out there who are gonna complain about how I cook a steak. And this video isn't about the steak. What's important is that the steak is cooked, but not to well done. And then I let it rest for a few minutes afterwards. So I sliced up the steak into slices and then placed 4 slices on a small plate. 2 of those slices I'm gonna garnish with the classic Maldon flaky salt, which is my go-to salt for this scenario. And then the other 2 I'm gonna garnish with my celery salt. I don't really want to mess around too much. I just finished this steak, let it rest for about 10 minutes. I know someone's going to comment on my method of making steak. I'm not a huge steak person. As long as it's not well done, I'm pretty happy with it. In this case, I just made sure it's not too undercooked. I'm pretty happy with how that came out, slightly pink. Not sure what level of doneness you would call that. Maybe like medium well done. All I've done is taken 4 pieces. I put Maldon salt in 2 pieces and then the fermented celery salt on the other 2 pieces, and I am just gonna first eat the Maldon salt and then compare it with the celery salt. That's all I'm gonna do. Maldon salt. Amazing. Delicious. Just salt. Steak, really juicy, a little bit crunchy on the outside, which I like. Soft on the inside, not chewy at all. Really beefy, not too fatty at all. This is why I love Hanu steak. Then I'm just gonna go straight into celery salt. Okay. Already that celery salt is like way more savory. A little bit tangy as well, really kind of gets your saliva going a little bit more. And honestly, I think it's better on this steak because not only does that saltiness bring out that beefy flavor a little bit more, but it also just adds that little bit of savory zinginess to the steak as well, which really goes well with the steak. The salt's also kind of crunchy in like a fun way. I think I might take off a couple pieces just because the crunchiness of the salt was a little bit much. It's interesting. It's like having a sauce on the steak as well, but it's not a sauce. It's actually really good. I'm really surprised with how well that came out. It doesn't taste anything like celery anymore, but it's still pretty damn good on a steak. I purposely did not season the steak with anything, kind of like a Korean style where you'll just grill the beef and then dip it or season it afterwards with whatever you want. That's usually my go-to as well. I'm gonna try the Maldon again, just to compare again. You see, going back to this now is kind of boring. Yeah, it's like a tasty beef steak, but it's just a beef steak, you know? Let's grab another piece, put a little bit more on here. Because honestly, this is pretty damn good. And I can imagine this being pretty good on some other types of meat too. Now, I'd be interested to see what some other vegetables or fruits, when fermented like this and then turned into salt, how they would taste as well. So if you've got any more ideas, leave them in the comments as well for like other vegetables or other fruits that I could ferment and then turn into salt. Because wow, I wasn't expecting it to be that sort of like unique as well. I thought, yeah, like it would just be like salt with like a little bit of like fermented-y like celery flavor, but actually that is quite significant and is actually quite good and actually adds to the steak instead of just takes away from it or distracts you from the steak. This actually really does go well with the steak. I'm just gonna take the rest of this steak and just add this salt to it. Nothing else. And just finish the steak like this, and this is my dinner, because it is like 5 p.m. It's also an expensive steak, so you know what? I'm gonna finish it. This video was definitely like an afterthought. I made that celery salt a couple months ago and I just completely forgot about it. I was totally prepared to just not do this video. And you know what? I'm glad I decided to just pull through, just get it done. This turned out really good. And I'm excited to actually try a few different other types of salt as well to see how they turn out. And you know what? Summer's coming up, barbecue season's coming up, so plenty of opportunities to try these salts. So go ahead and leave a comment down below with other fruit or vegetables that you think would be good in salt, and we'll get to those in the future, but I will see you in the next video.